Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Anello Show on WJJL 1440, and you can call us live at 297-1059. Today we have our guest is Candra Thomason. She's the executive director for the Niagara Falls Chamber, and in a few minutes we'll also be joined by another guest, Matt Murphy?
Yeah.
Matt Murphy, not the judge.
Not the judge. He's not related to those Murphys.
Yeah, not the judge. The other
Excuse me.
Murphy clan. So again, if you have any questions regarding, especially if you're a business person and you have any questions regarding, business in Niagara Falls and some of the benefits that the chamber might be able to offer you as a business person, this would be a good time to call. And I'm sure that Candra has, a number of topics that she wants to discuss, upcoming events for the chamber and also some of the initiatives, pro-business, pro-community initiatives that the chamber is undertaking, the Niagara Falls Chamber. Good morning, Candra. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Vince, how are you today?
I'm doing fine. Thank you.
Hey, I seen that sun peeking out. That was better than the
Yeah.
little rain clouds we had earlier this morning.
Yeah, I know. I hope we have a decent summer. I know we had a very interesting winter, but
Well, a slow start to summer, but
Yeah.
let's hope it warms up and stays long.
and lasts until November.
That would be good.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about the chamber first, for people that don't know about the chamber, the Niagara Falls Chamber. Some of the first of all, how do you become a member?
Okay.
Some of the benefits of being a member, and certainly, you can talk about the membership now, as far as diversity or whatever you want to talk about when it comes to the membership. This way it'll encourage other people to join, and we can take it from there. Go ahead.
Well, as you know, they took the chamber out of the city and they regionalized it some years back. I think it was 2003. I had no problem with them regionalizing a chamber. We need a regional chamber. They work on, county and state issues, but it really left a void for the small businesses here. So I was approached not once but twice. And the second time the door knocked, I said, okay, fine. We incorporated it a couple years ago. The chamber is open to all businesses and individuals that live anywhere in Western New York. It's right now, the fees are really, I think, quite affordable, $150 for an annual membership. And the benefits are fantastic. We just helped one of the organizations, I won't say their name, but they're funded by the city and through federal government, but they had a payroll and health care benefits that they gave their employees. Our benefits are huge. We saved them 50% on their payroll. And substantial amount on the insurance. So we've got a great insurance and payroll program through a company. We make no money. We do not administer it. So it's just totally for the benefit of the business owners. So if they want to join, they can go to our chamber page, which is real easy. There's no wwws. It's just NF for Niagara Falls, NYCC.com. So NFNYCC.com. And there's a membership page there. You join, you go to PayPal, you pay online, or you mail a check if you're more comfortable, and you're in.
Now, the membership fee, is it the same whether you're a business or an individual, or is there a difference?
There's a difference. Individuals are $50 and students are $25.
So students 25, individuals 50, and businesses 150.
Right. And then you have the networking. The networking is important, especially for the businesses. We're trying to sustain the businesses that are here, help them keep their doors open while we reach out to the new businesses. Harbor Freight just came in. Now, they employ 40 people when they came in. We did a ribbon cutting ceremony for them. So we want to roll that red carpet out. We want to welcome them in. And we want to reach out to other developers to try to get them in and maybe walk through what can sometimes be a difficult transition. Going to City Hall, going through the planning board, the inspections department. If we can work with that eventually, that's what our goal is.
Okay, now, as far as the health insurance, because I know that's very important to employers, do you also qualify for the health insurance as an individual or
Yes.
as a
sole
student?
proprietor and an individual, yes. They could
Okay.
do anyone.
Now I understand
As a
that
matter of fact,
if
if they go through Healthy New York, she can walk you through that. So
I
if you
see.
need to go through the state site, some people just feel a little bit
Intimidated,
uncomfortable with
sure.
it. So they do work with all of them.
No, and that's fine. Now, what programs does the chamber have
I'm going to have to bring her on. We have Independent Health, Univera, Blue Cross, Blue Shield, and several others. And what she does is she'll work with a business and come in and find the best program that suits your needs. If you're a healthy individual and see a doctor 2 or 3 times a year, she'll find a plan that's going to be less expensive for you because you don't really use that much medical care.
Right.
If you're someone else that visits a hospital more often, you're going to look at a different program. So they're all individualized and they're all tailored to meet your individual needs.
And I understand that if you're a student, but you're younger than 26, right now you have that coverage. But if you have any questions about the insurance and you're younger than 26, you certainly could ask questions about that.
Absolutely.
If there's any confusion.
Well, the businesses themselves, a lot of them are probably paying more than they need to. So they need to at least shop around, give the chamber your call. We'll come in. It's not going to cost you a cent for us to sit down, show you what our payroll plan is compared to ADP and a lot of the other ones that they use, and how much our health care is.
And why don't you at least update us on some of the initiatives that you have going now that you would like some support from the community, or that you want to get out there?
We got a lot of things going on. Right now we have a new board. So we got Sam Archie as our president. We got Matthew Murphy from Aurora Printing. He comes from Lancaster and he was on the Lancaster Chamber. He's opened up another print shop. That's the name of it. It's on Pine Avenue right next to Franco's in the back there. Then there's Deanna Kindren, and she is from Outer Beauty Salon. She just opened up recently with city money. They helped give her a loan. And she's at 7402, I believe, Buffalo Avenue. So it's an Outer Beauty Salon and boutique. She does hair. She has jewelry items, bags, that kind of stuff. Our treasurer is Steve Kerfoot from Citizens Bank. Terry Equals is on as our PR, I shouldn't say PR, photographer. Joey Swartz does the PR for us. So we've got a full board. We got Ken Constantino helping us. Some other people come to board meetings. Board meetings are tough. Getting people away from their business and out to a board meeting isn't our mission. We don't want to burden you with a boring board meeting. So what we had last month was a mixer at Wine on 3rd. And as we came out, Sean Weber said, my gosh, it was, wall-to-wall people. I don't know why they're coming out, but people are interested. They need that networking.
Well, I think most people, starve for information. And, when you talk about meetings, you may be right there from probably your experience as a city council member. People don't attend meetings. If you really want to get a real bad feeling in your stomach about meetings, try to go to a school board meeting or to a water board meeting and see what happens. Unless somebody had an issue with their water bill or an issue with a particular child, you don't find people coming to meetings, where they say, I heard this or I read this in another city or in another area. Is that something that we can try in the city of Niagara Falls, whether it's school district or whether it's the water board, whatever? You don't find those kinds of comments and discussions when you come to the mic. And what happens, usually what happens is you vent,
right,
or you ask questions. You don't get answers at that time. Now, if you want an answer, you have to go and file a FOIL. 9 times out of 10. Public officials as well as board officials at the water board, they're very, very hard to reach when it comes to sitting down and having a meeting. Now, I realize that if you have a constituency and you represent an organization, that they're gonna make time for you to have a meeting, because when they see you, they see the membership behind you. But as a private citizen, I don't think you get the same respect or response in general than you would as somebody that's head of an organization.
You don't. I mean, you were on the council, you were mayor, I was on the council. As they come in individuals, you don't know them, you're not inclined to really reach out as far and as much. And the other ones that come in, quite frankly, are the same people. You can take a picture, snapshot of the city council meeting and use it for the whole year, because just about basically everybody that's there every week is going to be there every week. So I think the council is just numb to that. You get the same people even on Facebook, and you're on some of those Facebook pages. There's issues that come up that people are upset about, but it's the same people complaining. Are you really getting City Hall to notice? No, you're not. You come in with 300 or 400 businesses strong and say, we represent, all the businesses in Niagara Falls that are on our chamber board. They're going to pay attention because especially some of these corporations that have bigger pocketbooks and they're paying the greater part of the taxes.
Just the sanitation issue alone, it's a very important issue to the city of Niagara Falls because if residents and businesses take control of just the recycling alone. Look, the amount of garbage we put out is going to be the amount of garbage we put out. I don't care what anybody says. But the only control we have is very little control on the tipping fees, which is the fee that we pay to have the garbage buried.
Right.
The cost incurred from the manpower and equipment that's necessary, whether it's a private contractor or the city. And the only control we have is recycling. Here we've had recycling since the mid-90s, okay? And aside for the first few years of the Galley administration, and my attempt a couple times at asking council for more help for Christine Forrester, who's the inspector that not only checks on these issues, but also is charged with the job of giving out permits, for when you have bulk refuse that you want to bring to the dump yourself, because you can get a
Right.
permit for
Right.
that.
Absolutely.
And I couldn't get any traction during budget time to try to get us some help. I even tried and had to give it up to have the building inspectors to help Christine out just on the issue of high grass, because in the summer she also incurs the job of citing people with tall grass and leaving bulk garbage in the back, in the back if they have alleys, or in the front if they don't. And I couldn't even get city's inspections department to even consider that if you're going to go to 2451 Independence Avenue to check on a permit, and you have two houses down to your left or to the right, the high grass, jot the date down and bring it over to, even if you bring it to the administrator's office or the mayor's office, so we can address it. They would not do it because it's in their specs.
Right.
That they don't do that kind of work. So here, even the mayors that tried, and I don't know who did and who didn't. I can only speak for myself. Even the ones that tried couldn't get any traction because you couldn't get any money from the council and you couldn't get any support from people that are getting paid. Okay, so it becomes a very difficult thing. So I can understand why the present administration didn't tackle it, full-heartedly when they first took over 6 years ago. The question I have is, if you went to all the expense and increasing the salary of the administrator over $40,000 because of her expertise, which it's fine. I have no problem.
If she has the expertise.
Well, but the thing is, that's what it's in her resume, and that's what the mayor said.
what they claim.
And the mayor said, you get what you pay for, and this, and that, and the other thing. Why did it take 6 years to understand that the entire recycling and sanitation effort was being undermined by the fact that we were not enforcing the laws in place, we weren't changing the laws to meet the times, and we weren't paying attention to the recycling because, for instance, in my house, we've had 2 recycle bins for as long as I can remember, okay? Because we just do it.
Right.
Okay, well, let's put it this way. I take the credit for it, but it's my wife.
Right.
Okay, she does. So the question I've had all along, it isn't to attack the administration about the sanitation issue, because that's one of their main jobs. It's public health and safety, and sanitation is, has to do with public health. So that's their job. But I do question, having an expert on staff who would look at the laws that have to do with sanitation, who would at least make suggestions and say, this 1970s law that you have on the books maybe should be updated to do this or do that. We tried this and it worked. We tried this and it didn't work. You would think that there would have been a discussion around the table in the conference room with people that know the city, because let's face it, when you first come into the city, you have no clue about the politics. You don't have a clue about the sensitivities, so you're bound to step into things that you wish you had known beforehand. And I'm sure Ms. Owens has done the same thing, and I feel bad for her on that in that
I
sense.
feel bad in a way. However, I did speak to Mayor Deister about it, and she did come in with that background. I would have thought that that would have been one of the first things she looked at. How can we make the city plan for garbage and recycling better? How can we save money doing it? And while I'm a proponent for recycling and the garbage pickup and the different bins that we should have been using years ago, I'm not agreeing that we should spend more. Do you have someone online?
Yeah, there's somebody that would like to talk to you, it looks like. And but the thing is that, again, from 4%, you didn't need somebody to be an expert to change it to 8% or 12%. What you needed is somebody to tackle the job,
Right.
And with her expertise, I would expect that by now we should have 30-40% over 6 years. Yes, caller, you're on.
Hi, good afternoon, or good morning. Thank you for allowing me to come through.
Oh, our pleasure. We have Candra Thomason here, and she's with the executive director of the Chamber, Niagara Falls Chamber, and you can reach us at 297-1059 on WJJL, the Anello Show, and caller, go ahead.
Well, I'm a first-time caller.
Bill Carroll, I recognize the voice.
How you doing, Bill?
I'm doing well. Thank you very much for allowing me to be on. I really am just kind of reaching out to, and maybe I'm operating in a vacuum on this, but I wanted to get other people's thoughts that if we agree conceptually that a improvement in the recycling position needs to happen, didn't the city fail dramatically from a marketing initiative coming forth and saying this, telling us, hey, here's the problems, here's what we're thinking about doing, I don't know. I wanted to get your input on that, kind of a generic thought process.
Well, from my point of view, that's exactly the problem, because I doubt very much, and they're going to have to show me documentation where it did happen, but I doubt very much that this administration sat down with the council at any time prior to the modern contract and said, look, we need to do something about recycling, because this is the only way the city of Niagara Falls can save money, because the cost of getting rid of the garbage goes up every year, whether you like it or not. Okay, that's just the cost of doing business. That's number one. Number two, it bothers me that I know the past councils, including, I believe, the one that Candra Thomason was on, and I served with her for a couple of years, I'm sure tried to address, when it was time for the modern contract, some of these issues when it came, because we used to have clean neighborhood laws or ordinances. We had all kinds of things that were initiated, and it bothers me that I believe it was you that posted when one of your posts mentioned that the law or the ordinance that we work with is from 1970.
1974, actually.
1974? Okay, now think about this, Bill. 1974, but since 1974,
I had red hair in 74.
a number of councils have initiated resolutions and legislation to make things better. Now, either they fell, into the garbage can, either they were never incorporated into the charter. That's why I keep screaming about the fact that the charter should have been codified long, long time ago, and finally the city council is taking a step forward, although I have to tell you, it's a very small step.
Oh, yeah.
A very small step, because we had the work already done with 80 inconsistencies in the charter. We paid $30,000 to get that work done by an attorney. Now they're paying another attorney to go over the original attorney's work, and it just doesn't make any sense. Those 80 inconsistencies should have been given to the council in forms of resolutions and taken care of just in the last 4 to 6 months alone.
Well, I guess that was my question. Where I was ultimately coming to. Doesn't this really come down to an issue of how the charter is? What is the law of the city as it relates to sanitation?
Even if she claims that, the law of 1974 said that we're responsible businesses for paying for their garbage, and she goes into this whole thing, you know what? It's 2014. They have not enforced that law. Precedence takes over. I mean, that law doesn't even affect us anymore.
Bill, in the mid-90s, when we started private sanitation, I know that there was discussion on the floor when the law was being explained to the council and from the administration side, of course. One of the things was that the contract allowed for 6 bags of garbage. Now, I don't see that written anywhere.
Yeah.
I don't see anybody talking about it. It's a surprise to everybody that there's a limit whatsoever. Businesses have are surprised that there is other ways of, there's other ways on the books that businesses have to take care of their sanitation. And what's happened, Bill, is that everybody's acted like we never had any laws on the books. Nobody ever tried to work on recycling, and that this is a new venture. And look, sorry if we're making mistakes and the rollout is a little rough, but this has never been done before. That is a cop-out.
It's not even the rollout's rough. Everybody's getting different letters. We received a letter for our business at 1220 Main Street and my Insurance Solutions. It was so vague. It was 2 paragraphs, 1 sentence each. We're not going to, the city's no longer going to be picking up your garbage. We recommend that you find your own contractor to pick up your garbage. Didn't say what would happen if we didn't tell us who to call. Nothing. I mean,
That
it was
goes to
so
the
vague.
marketing effort.
Other businesses got a different letter saying that there would be bins dropped off. I understand the recycling bin is smaller than the
garbage bin is smaller.
Garbage bin, thank you, is smaller than the recycling bin. Those are all issues that should have been discussed, especially with someone with that experience in the administration, before they tried to roll this program out. I did speak with the mayor about it, and I spoke with you, Bill, about it. They had several meetings, and they ended up being more gripe sessions and no answers. We're prepared to do a meeting at the library, a city forum, with the administration, and give them a couple weeks to maybe iron out some of the issues that are being asked right now, and have a panel of experts ask the questions, meaning businesses that are going to be paying the greater part, and done in a very professional way. I did speak with the mayor. He did indicate he wanted to do that. I called his office, told him I was going to be on the show. I'm hoping they're going to work in that direction, because recycling it can actually pay for itself.
Well, but that's the point. I don't understand it. That's the only control we have over getting rid of our garbage,
Right.
And we have failed miserably. But here we're in a situation where this administration has had the funding source, because let's face it, we just bought $2.1 million of garbage cans
Right.
from casino money. We're also funding the effort with $60,000 for trainers, I guess, and also inspectors. Now give me a break, okay?
Well, if the recycling was done, now DeVos recycles very well, and parts of LaSalle.
Right.
And Vince, you
And
said that you do.
2451 Independence
There you
Avenue.
go. But I'll tell you, the greater part of the inner city does not. And you can drive
Right.
through
No, I
any
know that.
alley and you know that. So if we just got that our ducks in the order there, and we started really recycling inner city, and even with the businesses.
But the clean neighborhood ordinances are in place. And when Bill mentions that the law is 1974, no, we've had changes to the law, but they haven't been incorporated in the mindset of city council and the administration.
Well, they don't enforce them.
Because if you leave your garbage outside the garbage cans, or put it out there 24 hours before the garbage pickup, you're supposed to get a citation.
Well, that's absolutely
Okay,
true.
name the last person that received a citation because they had too many bags out there. The bags were not in covered cans, okay? Or they put it out too early.
Well, I'd have to
Now
foil
that
it,
I didn't
but-
know.
No,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
all in the.
Oh, yes.
That's why, Bill. That's why sometimes I pull away from those comments on Facebook, because for me, because I've lived through this, it's
Yeah.
so frustrating. Keep beating the same dead horse.
Can I find my wife?
What's that?
Can I find my wife? She's
her?
always putting bags out.
Oh yeah.
Well, you
yeah.
could call the city on her if you
should-
wanted to.
Yeah, you should be able to take pictures. That's what I
I
say.
doubt they'll do anything,
Here's the
though.
second part of my question, the reason I called in. And both of you probably are most appropriate to try and address this question. The mayor comes to the council with a resolution at the end of April meeting. And in this resolution, he asks for approval and then the payment to cascade. He never defines what the payment is. So your number of a couple $1,000,000, I think, you just used, Vince, I think was news to me, actually, in terms of the dollars. I guess the question I want to ask, at that meeting, and I've been injured and really not able to attend meetings, so I apologize for being naive on this, but all members of the council supported both resolutions that were presented that evening. It was a unanimous vote. Both approved for the purchase of the containers from Cascade and for the new resolution on the collection. I asked one particular councilman at a public meeting last week, and she informed us that she was a party to conversations, public conversations about the new ordinance and the impact it would have on small business. Would that have been a meeting that was held confidentially or ex parte, or would it have been a meeting that was held, would have been part of the general meeting that evening?
Her key word was public. If it was public, it would have been at a 4 o'clock work session.
What she might have meant by that was maybe some of these meetings that are going on around with block clubs and business
Well, that's what I wondered.
organization.
That's true.
You know, it could be one of that, but think about it. You have a council member talking about there was some discussion at a public meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever happened to public hearings?
Oh, you know what? You
You know,
just
I
hit
mean,
the nail on the head. There should have
You know,
been a
what about
public
the
hearing.
public hearings? What about
How do you-
stating 6 years ago or 5 years ago or 4 years ago, folks, we have laws on the books. We're going to enforce them. The ones that you don't like, the council can change them.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, we might add some more laws to it.
Well, they should have asked more questions, and my question to the mayor was, how was it that a resolution was presented and passed without a public hearing, without questions being asked and answered?
Bill, what you have to understand about this, though, when it comes to the, because I know you're trying to figure out the interaction between the administration and the council and how these things develop.
Why didn't the council,
Because
I'm in favor of the plan. Don't get me
Oh,
wrong.
me too.
I actually
Yes.
think that we need
Me
to
too.
pressure, we need to increase the recycling. 4% is ridiculous. We
We
should be
just don't
ashamed
need
of
the
ourselves.
businesses to pick up the tab.
All right, we can save money. But at and I believe actually the sweet money, the 60 grand for the sweet money, I think is a drop in the bucket. I actually think that's a pretty good idea. But my point is that why weren't these issues, we're putting a tax burden on small businesses that are already marginalized to a great deal, especially if they own property in the city.
Well, they're paying the greater amount of taxes, and they're already struggling.
And now
You're
all of a sudden we're
absolutely
throwing
right.
another, few $100 to $1,000 a month of a tax liability on their backs. That's baloney.
Well, I
Bill-
can tell
Bill-
you that the administration said that the details have not all been worked out. So
Okay,
everything
pass
is
around-
No
in a done
details,
deal.
no details have been worked out
Okay.
because every single change that they're considering right now has either come out at public meetings that they've had since people rioted, practically, and on Facebook. They had the government, this government, and this includes the council and the mayor and the administrator, haven't
That's
brought
what-
out one single possible change that made sense. All the changes that they're taking credit for and addressing right now or want to face right now, all of those came from the rank and file taxpayer.
And that's true. That's where a chamber comes in. Again, if you're 300 to 400 strong businesses and residents as a chamber, you walk in and you make an appointment with the city administrator and the mayor. You know that this is coming down the pipeline in advance because you're talking with them on a continual basis, and you sit down and you go over the plan to make sure that it's a benefit for the entire community and not another burden.
I think the city of Niagara Falls, Candra, I think definitely deserves a business advocate, and I think the chamber's the perfect route for it.
We definitely need it.
Thank you very much, Bill.
I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks.